On the days I'm supposed to get them, there will be no calling, asking for them, and all that. I don't do that.
But do you go there to pick them up?
Yeah, but I'm finna change that too, because I don't feel like I should be at her house. I feel like that's a private place where she stay, and mine is a private place where I stay, and I just want to keep it forward. You know what I'm saying? I like the forward motion of things and how it go. And like I say, it's real peaceful for me. You know what I'm saying? My mental health.
So you just rather have no communication with her?
Yeah.
All right, so let's have a conversation about patriarchy. And I'll tie in little Scrappy in that video into this in a moment. But first, let's just talk about what is patriarchy. Because so many men today talk about patriarchy and all these different kinds of things, but I don't think they really take the time to talk about what it really is, right? And so being a patriarch means that you are the leader of your family indefinitely. It also means that you are responsible for the direction and the vision of your family in all areas. Like, it's all encompassing, right? You have to be responsible for the trajectory and the upraising of the children. You have to be responsible for the belief system and spiritual development of the family. You have to be responsible for the financial direction and how resources are allocated and the retirement plans of your family. The physical health, the mental health, the spiritual health, the financial health, the outcomes of the children, the joy, you are responsible for setting the vision for everything in your family for an extended period for basically indefinitely until you die. That's what a patriarch is. You got the most responsibility and you're going to take the most blame. And you have to constantly lead and set the vision. And if something don't go right, it's your fault because you are in charge. That's what that is. Like, if you look even in past times, it wasn't just about you and your personal family and your kids, but it was about, like, back in the day, patriarchs were in charge of and responsible for a large amount of people. If you go back to different kingdoms and political structures and family religious structures, patriarchs were responsible for a lot of people. And the reason I bring that up is because, and this is how this clip ties into that, there's a lot of talk on these internet streets about patriarchy and how Black America was never a patriarchy, and you have all these men claiming that they wanted to be patriarchs, and Black women were opposed to it, and she kicked the man out of the house for welfare, and what I'm starting to think is this. I'm starting to think that there has always been a contingency of Black men that had no interest in being a patriarch.
You wouldn't do a 50-50 relationship? I'm willing to stay single until I can support myself 100% and have a shorty move into my... You gonna feel me go half on the bills with her, right? No. You're bugging. If I'm already paying all the bills by myself, why would I move a shorty in and tell her she gotta pay half
So
now?
you can save money.
Bro, I'm not about to bring no girl inside my house and she think I'm paying all the bills. That's not happening. She's gonna go to sleep knowing that she don't gotta pay no bills, and I gotta go to sleep early and I gotta wake up early and work.
Very true. Very true.
And I think the percentage of men who have zero interest in being a patriarch has steadily been increasing. However, instead of men just admitting and owning up to the fact that they have no desire to really be a patriarch, they'd rather say, oh, the problem is the woman and she don't want to submit. But when the truth of the matter is, you really don't want the responsibility and the obligation of being a patriarch. Like, let's go back to, they kicked the man out of the house and all. And I got to see if I can find that clip. I'm going to try to put that clip in here as well. You have men back in the 60s having these conversations with women about she need to take the back seat and let me lead. And all these other kinds of things. And yeah, she got more money, but she only got more money because the man is promoting her to usurp me. And I know I don't got no money, but she still... Is
that there's a revolution within a revolution. We are fighting our own woman. Our woman will not allow us to emerge as black men. No. But our black women, who has been put in this role of aiding white America, white structure, and castrating the black male, has continued doing this. She cannot live with us. It's not that we can't live with her.
Are you blaming us? Are you saying that it's our fault that this happened?
No, I'm not blaming black America women. I just said that I'm blaming the system. They are victims of the system like the black male.
Well, why do you say that we are castrating you? You say that you want to be the leaders. Okay, well, what about the black professional woman? Are you saying that there should be no black professional woman? Are you trying to deny black women the right to be creative, the right to function?
We're not asking for you to take a back seat. We're saying that you have got to be astute enough and can view the situation well enough where you just automatically know what your role is and step back. And whenever you want to have that aggressive thing, this is the thing that the young black man today is not going to tolerate. My old man tolerated it because his old man tolerated it. It came up for years and years and years. But today, the young black man is not going to take it. He's going to be out there as a leader. White America has used black women to keep the black male in his place. And you're still aiding him by saying, well, we are qualified, we want to work, we can help.
Okay, how are you going to reprogram men so that they don't let us take over what's supposed to be their responsibility? And men that I have had dealings with, they are perfectly willing to sit back and let us do anything we want to.
I don't think you have to reprogram men. I think you have to reprogram women.
Okay, how are you going to reprogram men so that they don't let us take over what's supposed to be their responsibility? And men that I have had dealings with, they are perfectly willing to sit back and let us do anything we want to.
I don't think you have to reprogram men. I think you have to reprogram women.
No. Listen, I honestly believe that there was a lot of men who, quite frankly, they didn't want the responsibility of being a patriarch. They didn't want the obligation. They didn't want to make that lifelong commitment. And I feel as though there's a lot of those guys that way right now. You really don't want to be no patriarch. Now you want to sit online and talk about what's wrong with the woman and why is she not doing this, and she too masculine and she not taking a step back. And listen, it's a lot of talk about the modern woman. But if you ask me, the modern woman was created by the modern man. And the modern man started to pop up around, I'd say maybe in the 80s and the 90s, where you had a lot of men who wanted to have their fun. They wanted to sow the seed and deal with a whole bunch of women. They wanted to chase dreams of athletic stardom and movie stardom and musical stardom, especially with the advent of hip hop. Like, we got to be honest. The modern man has been around for much longer than the modern woman. The modern man actually created the modern woman because there were so many men who did not want to take on the responsibility of being a patriarch. And that led to a lot of women doing their own thing out of necessity. Like, even if you look right now, a lot of these guys chasing rap dreams and sports dreams and all these other kinds of things. What are the women doing while men are doing this? You see what I'm saying? And so once again, we have to be honest. The modern male has existed for some time now. For quite some time now. And a lot of these men talking about patriarchy, they really don't have a desire in being a patriarch. And you can hear it in how they talk. You can't on the one hand talk about how you want to be a patriarch, then on the other hand talk about, oh man, I'm not paying 100% of the bills, and I'm not going to do this, and I'm not going to do that. Like, if you listen to the talk, a lot of these guys, they don't have an interest in being no patriarch. Once again, like, when it comes to being a patriarch, guess what? If a child is acting out, guess what happens? The woman comes to you and says, what are we going to do about your son? And when she says, what are we going to do? What she really means is, what are you going to do? Why? Because you're the leader. Now, don't get me wrong, she may have a suggestion, and more than likely she's going to help in whatever is determined, but ultimately it's your responsibility to come up with a solution. When she says, what are we going to do about these bills? What she means is, what are you going to do about it, leader? Once again, she'll help and she'll contribute, and she may even have a good idea. But ultimately, because you're the leader, you said you wanted to be it. So the responsibility and the burden on you is to lead in all aspects of your family's life until death. And truth be told, like I said already, a lot of guys don't really want that responsibility. It's nice to talk about all the women are too masculine, all the women don't want to let the man lead, and it's good talking points. It makes good content. But let's just, at a certain point, let's just be honest. A lot of these guys you hear talking on the internet, do you truly believe they want to be responsible for the outcomes of their family indefinitely until death? Seriously, you think they want to be in charge of the financial vision of the family, of the spiritual vision of the family, of the educational direction and future of the children? No. Like, that's what hit me this morning when I saw that clip of Lil Scrappy. And let me explain to you how that ties into this. The brother is on social media saying, look, this woman that I have multiple kids with, that I was married to for all this time, I really don't want to speak to her at all. Let me tell you something. It don't work like that. First of all, you had multiple children with this woman. So whether you're with her or not, from a patriarchal mindset, you're responsible for this woman. Why? Because this woman is the other half of your children's parental unit. And so her mental state, her physical health, her financial health, her spiritual development is going to play a huge role in the raising of your children and the worldview that your children will have as they walk into adulthood. And so you being the father, you being the man, you going no communication is problematic. Because you need to ensure that the mother of your children is at a certain place so that she can properly pour into the children. You need to make sure that the mother of your children is at a certain place so that she's instilling and reinforcing the beliefs and behaviors that you want your children to learn. So you need that woman indefinitely, which means you're going to have to lead that woman indefinitely. Now, I understand you guys just broke up and, feelings may be fresh and all that kind of stuff. And so maybe for a little bit, y'all just don't talk that much because, the wound is still fresh. But eventually, you're going to have to put that to the side. That's part of being a patriarch. You can't just sit up there and say, well, kids, I know your life didn't turn out how you wanted to turn out, but hey, that wasn't me, that was your mama. No. You're the leader and you picked the mama. If we want to really talk about being a patriarch, and part of him being a patriarch means you got to lead better. And part of that is, listen, I'm not going to put our personal business on the internet because that's not going to help the situation. Excuse me. I'm sorry, itching. My bad. That's going to... Now, obviously, a part of their relationship has to be in the public because they're doing reality television. But everything ain't got to be out there. All this stuff about how much we communicate and how well co-parenting is going. Hey, what he should have said was, listen, it's public knowledge that our marriage has come to an end and we had some issues and this, that, and the third. But you know what? That woman is the mother of my children. I always loved that woman. I always got that woman. And so what we're not going to do is talk about our situation publicly. What all y'all know is all y'all need to know. And then he should have went to the woman in private and said, hey, let's not talk about our situation publicly. Right? Because if you're not together, the only thing that you guys can speak on is how well you're co-parenting, and like, so there's no reason to talk about it publicly at all. And guess what? If he goes to her and says we're not going to talk about it, and she still talks about it, and then when somebody asks him about it, you know what he says? Hey, you know, I would prefer that my family business stays our family business, and you know, obviously what's said, but as far as on my end, I prefer family business to stay family business. And you just keep doing that and keep doing that until eventually she stops because she realizes, oh, I look crazy. Keep talking publicly, and this man keeps saying we're going to keep it private. Another issue. This individual should have wheeled his mom in many, many years ago. There's no reason that his mom should have been on a reality television show with him. No reason for it. Only reason she's there is stirring up drama within his relationships. I say 5-10 years ago, he should have got his mama in order and said, hey, listen, you got to understand your boundaries and what you can and cannot say and what you can and cannot do in regards to my relationships, my wife, the mother of my children, all of that. That's part of being the man, part of being the leader, part of being the patriarch. You got to, if mom is getting out of order, you can't say, well, that's mama being mama. No, you got to set that straight. That's one thing that I noticed about LeBron James. If you recall, years ago, early on in LeBron's career, his mom was in the blogs for dealing with certain kind of guys, and she was getting in situations and causing scenes in the stands. And one time he had to tell her to sit her ass down. But you know who you haven't heard from in any kind of press or tabloids or shade room stuff in many, many years? LeBron James' mama. I just saw her recently because he posted about how his mom was happy to sit with him and see her grandson play at USC. And that was one of the first things we heard from her in quite some time. Why? Because LeBron was being a patriarch, and all that drama and issues surrounding his mom that he dealt with early on, he shut all that down, being the leader. And so just to wrap this whole thing up, once again, I'm convinced that a lot of guys talking about this patriarchy stuff and all this, they don't really have a real desire to be a patriarch. They really don't. The amount of responsibility and obligation and the amount of work that comes with being the leader of your entire family unit. A lot of guys, they don't really want to, they don't want that. They don't want to do that. They really don't. A lot of guys, they want a docile woman that's not going to, you know, voice her opinion, that's not going to hold him to any kind of a standard. And when things go wrong, she's not going to say anything about how he misled the family. That's what a lot of guys want. Do they really want to be like a responsible, quote unquote, patriarch? No. They just want to do things their own way and have nobody to challenge or say anything about it. And they don't, and if it goes well, goes wrong, they don't want to be held accountable for it. But being a patriarch, man, listen. The amount of men that have a true desire and have really accepted the responsibility of being that has steadily been going down since the 90s. Let's just keep it real.